developers all around the world have been experimenting with powerful new usages for this data size that's been lifted with no limit. Steve, our lead developer, he sent out the first transaction where he took the entire text of the book Alice in Wonderland and embedded it in a single op return push. 53 kilobytes of data put in one Bitcoin transaction op return. And then Unwriter, who's this mysterious, unknown, but most prolific developer in the Bitcoin world, took that and went, aha, I'm going to run with this whole Alice in Wonderland thing, because Bitcoin developers love that. They love blue pills and red pills and all those rabbits. And so he then constructed a serverless website, where there's a website, you can go visit it at that URL, where the content and the data for the website is all stored in a single Bitcoin transaction op return push. And the website runs without a server from that Bitcoin blockchain transaction, which is pretty amazing. And then there's more. Memo.cash, which is a popular social media platform that operates on the Bitcoin SV blockchain, has now enabled the embedding of PNG and JPEG images directly into posts on its platform and then forever into the blockchain. So it did a first test with this. It's a picture of part of the Bitcoin white paper, section 8, about simplified payment verification. And then there's another developer, his name is Nguyen, who's just been playing with all cool new usages. He's embedded a chess game, a clock, and even a whole music file of classical music in single op return transactions on the Bitcoin blockchain. So it's been pretty amazing to watch. And if you want to get really bigger in terms of how does this turn into a business for enterprises to use the blockchain this way, someone launched bitcoinfiles.org. It's basically Dropbox on the blockchain, where it is a content delivery network on Bitcoin SV, where you can store and access any type of files, images, text content, Word documents for a fee. You pay Bitcoin SV for it, and you can access it with micropayments of Bitcoin SV, treating Bitcoin the way it was supposed to be, a ledger, a record-keeping system that's also used for a global payment network. So what does this mean? It means that with the limits lifted, and that will continue to be lifted by our team to get Bitcoin back to the original Satoshi vision, Bitcoin SV can and will be, in our view, the world's new data carrier and storage network. But the advantage, compared to just another data carrier and storage network, is that the storage and the transmission of data happens with a payment transaction. So you can do cool new business models where data and content are being transmitted with payment and unlocking or locking access to payment. And that is why we need much bigger blocks. You can't keep these small blocks and make this work. The final thing I'll end on is this amazing concept of the metanet that our chief scientist, Craig Bright, announced at a big conference in London in December. He thinks this stuff with op return is cute. We just spoke at a conference in Japan together yesterday. And after I spoke, he said, yeah, Jimmy's excited about op return and data being embedded. And he's like, oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's like 0.00001% of what's possible. He envisions a world of what is called the metanet. We call it the metanet because his view is that one day the Bitcoin blockchain will subsume the internet, and that you can operate the entire internet through the blockchain. And the advantage of it is that if the internet is operating with the blockchain, you have the same data structure, the blockchain, recording both payments and content data. I view it this way, and it's how I describe it to people who don't understand the technical intricacies. The internet now is a protocol for transmitting information, right? Email is how we get our website data to display onto a page or a mobile app. And then Bitcoin was designed to be a payment system, right? A blockchain that you can use to send payments. On the internet, when you want to access a website and watch something, let's say on Amazon, you also have to pay, but the payment occurs kind of at a different layer. There's a payment processor, that's linked into the website. The metanet is this concept of creating a universal system where the payment and the transmission of data can happen simultaneously in the same layer natively to each other, so that you can open up whole new business models in terms of how you can access and transmit data. You can take advantage of the security of the blockchain, its code base. I won't go through all these. The single communication channel and reducing the number of keys that have to be purchased. But an example of how you could use this is time access, where you could remove the need for a third party to monitor, for example, when or how you access a television show or movie on Netflix, right? Right now they use sort of intermediary databases to track whether you paid your subscription, right? But you could access individual files that are paid for and contained on the blockchain or accessed on the blockchain, and you can pay by the second. And you can have time limits where this person's access expires based upon certain keys that are encoded into the blockchain. So it's combining those into one, which is really powerful. Same thing with payment mechanisms, allowing the purchase and delivery of digital content to take place within the same blockchain platform as opposed to separating them. And so those are just early examples of where we think this is all headed. But the concept is to make the internet ultimately a subset of Bitcoin. If you can do what Unwriter did, which is create a serverless website that operates in a single Bitcoin transaction, what else could you do? We're just at the very beginning of all this. And of course, much more work has to be done. But this is why we think there will be one global public ledger, one global public blockchain, not 1,000 and not 1,000 coins. And that's what we think is important to take us back to the future. Bitcoin always had this potential in it. It had it when Satoshi birthed it. It took a circuitous route where some people veered in another direction. We tried to save it with Bitcoin Cash that was birthed by certain people, the Bitcoin ABC development team, and we threw our support behind it. And that went in another direction. And finally, we just said enough. We decided to take a stand, fight for the original Bitcoin vision. That's why Bitcoin SV is here, is to take us back in time to get to the future. And that's critical to understand why Bitcoin, Satoshi vision, really is back to the future, the great reset, what we believe is the all-in-one coin, and the global public ledger for the future.
All right, guys. Yep. Now, Jimmy, do you need to head out like right now? Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna take questions, and then we're gonna. So I'm gonna do about 2 to 3 questions, then we're gonna do a panel. So yeah, first question.
I have a question. You were talking about increasing the size of the blocks,
Yes.
and also the size of the data.